Devin Bush is the most important free agent signing the Chicago Bears made this offseason. He signed a 3-year, $30 million deal in March 2026 to play linebacker for the Bears that carries an $11 million signing bonus and $21 million guaranteed. Bush was a standout player at Michigan before being drafted by the Steelers in the first round in the 2019 NFL Draft. Bush had an incredible start to his NFL career, finishing third in Rookie of the Year honors in 2019. However, in his final 3 years in Pittsburgh and in his 1 year in Seattle, his production dropped off significantly. In 2024, he joined the Cleveland Browns and had what I'd call kind of a boring year as a linebacker. However, this past year, in 2025, he seemed to find his groove again. Bush tallied 125 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns. He'll slide in next to TJ Edwards defensively and be the replacement for Tremaine Edmonds. I think the biggest thing that stands out about Bush is his speed. You could see it coming out of Michigan, and this is something he still possesses. He has a pretty impressive RAS score of 9.33 with an elite explosion grade as well as speed. He ran a 4.43 40 at the combine, but I think more impressively, his 10-yard split was 1.53, which was 9.92 on the RAS. He is pretty small for a linebacker at 5'11", 234 pounds listed, so that'll be a bit of a change for Bears fans who are used to seeing the 6'5" Tremaine Edmonds in the middle of the field. Similar to Edmonds, Bush also has that sideline-to-sideline speed that allows him to track down athletes in space. This is very valuable, especially with the likes of Jahmyr Gibbs and Josh Jacobs in the division. However, what I think is more important for a linebacker is how they're reading and reacting quickly and getting downhill. The faster they close space, the less they have to rely on their speed to get the ball carries on the ground. And what this comes down to, I'd say, is 3 things: eye discipline, footwork, and physicality. Now let's go through what skills of these Bush possesses and where he may be lacking. First, starting with eye discipline, I was pretty impressed watching the film. This is something that Bears linebackers and the defense has struggled with over the past few years. The NFL throws a lot of misdirection at you with shifts, motions, pulling linemen, false pulls, boots, RPOs, quarterback run game, you get the gist. The good thing about this being so common throughout the NFL is we also got to see how Devin Bush reacted to all these things. And he was very used to it playing on the Browns. They had a good defensive line. Most teams weren't just going to blow him off the ball, they were going to throw some things at him, some tricks, and see how they reacted. Devin Bush was very good at this most of the time. You rarely see him hesitate, and he's almost always attacking downhill. This allows him to eliminate space quickly, as you'll see here from this pin and pull from the Ravens. He gets downhill, closes that space, makes the tackle. Now you see from the end zone here on this play, he's highlighted in the orange circle. He's not always big on contact. He'll a lot of times avoid offensive linemen, which can work in some cases. Most of the time, he's trying to beat him with speed and beat him to the spot to get over the top. However, sometimes when an offensive lineman beats him to a spot, he can be pretty timid and tends to get walled off a lot. He's not the biggest or most physical guy, so once an offensive lineman gets attached to him, he's probably driving him out of the play. This is my biggest concern with Devin Bush is, can he play physical enough given the personnel in front of him? I think a lot of the success for Devin Bush relies on the defensive line being able to eat double teams a lot better than they did last year. It's hard for any linebacker when they're getting defensive linemen pushed into their lap and offensive linemen are doubling up to you, but especially for a smaller guy like Bush. While Edmonds wasn't the most tenacious defender, he at least had the size to be able to deal with offensive linemen and long arms to keep extension and be able to assist on tackles even when engaged. Bush's lack of true power does give him some benefits in the other areas where he makes up for it. Bush has a very quick first step. He almost never takes a false step, meaning he is not going backwards, he's almost strictly downhill. This is so important for linebackers because once you make a read, you got to hit the hole. These backs are quick, and they'll take any space you give them, so you got to close that space quickly. Bush does a great job of that. The talk so far has been mostly on how he fits the run and how he presents overall as a linebacker, but let's talk about his pass coverage. Bush is solid overall against the pass and can take the ball away. He's not elite by any means, but he has the athleticism to match up with most guys he'd be asked to cover. Overall, Bush had a PFF grade that ranked 4th among linebackers at 87.6. His run defense was an impressive 87.3, and his pass rush grade was also notable at 68.7, which ranked 30th among linebackers. He had 8 total pressures last year and the aforementioned 2 sacks, making a viable blitzing asset in Dennis Allen's scheme. A big aspect of that scheme, especially on third down, third and long situations, is the walked-up double-A gap middle linebackers. So being able to have a true blitz threat out of that look will make it harder for offenses and force them to keep more blockers in on third downs. Additionally, Bush's speed will help him bail out and get into that Tampa 2 look they like to run out of that simulated pressure package. I think Dennis Allen can have a lot of fun scheming up new blitzes and new looks with the additions of Kobe Bryant, Devin Bush, and Dylan Thieneman. Those guys are all athletic and versatile and fit the mold the Bears are trying to develop on that side of the football. That's why I think Devin Bush was the most valuable free agent signing for the Bears this offseason, and will need to be a key contributor on this defense for the Bears to have any success. That's a wrap on the Devin Bush introduction. Subscribe to Windy City Film Room for more breakdowns and highlights.